Hare Hare. I have received some messages and emails from individuals inquiring about OPPIC, the Organization of Parents for the Protection of ISKCON Children. Some of it supportive, some of it not. Some of it questioning my sanity for taking on such a daunting task. In one person's words, an impossible task. But I received the vast majority of the information or the messages I received have been around this particular question. Why are you trying to establish something that already exists, right? You're replicating what already exists. It just needs to be made better. Why are you trying to replicate the CPO, the educational resources? Everything is already there. Don't replicate it. Just try to work towards making it better. My wife's an artist, and she works with clay. I can appreciate through her what an artist can do with clay. You can have a clay tiger. You can create a clay tiger that is absolutely identical to a real tiger at rest. The only difference is that the real tiger can harm you. It's alive. So while the answer to the question, this is a softball question, which is why I can answer it in less than 5 minutes. Externally, it looks like I'm replicating what already exists. But the difference is one is made of clay and one is live. And that difference is the GBC. The GBC for 30 years have been writing policies, child protection policies, putting together child protection initiatives, programs, assigning, appointing directors here, directors there, for 30 years. But throughout that 30-year history of the GBC trying to solve the issue of child protection, they have constantly injected in what I like to call, for lack of a better term, CYA. Right? Cover your, and then there is the ubiquitous Anglo-American 3-letter word for derriere. Everything they've done for 30 years has been tainted with CYA. They have only been interested in limiting liability to the greater society of ISKCON. Now, we can argue till the cows come home as to the moral validity of that and how are they determining what's best for ISKCON or not. That's a different discussion. That is an unending discussion depending on who you talk to. That's irrelevant because while we're talking about the moral validity or invalidity of that argument, children are being harmed. Let that argument take place somewhere else. The fact of the matter is that's what has been happening for 30 years. The GBC cannot solve this problem. They cannot address child protection to the exclusion of everything else when necessary. They cannot. It's not built. It's not structured for that, meaning the GBC. So it's absolutely fascinating that we've gone for 30 years with the absolute clear reality that every time the GBC gets involved in child protection, it's tainted with CYA, and that they do not have, not only are they structurally incapable of addressing the issue, when they get involved in the issue, they make a mess of it. Because they're structurally incapable of dealing with the problem. It's the wrong tool for the issue at hand. And yet we continue to place this at the feet of the GBC. This is absolute foolishness. This is thinking we should have gotten away from in the last century. This is ISKCON's 1970, 1980 type thinking. The GBC have to solve this problem. Enough of it already. They can't. They are not structurally capable, even if they wanted to. And, very important, many individual members of the GBC, God bless their souls, in their wonderful, naive innocence, want to solve the problem. And this is a bit of an aside. When I was doing fundraising to help child abuse victims of the Mayapur Gurukula, guess where I got most of my funds from? Who wanted to remain anonymous? GBC leaders. Gave more to that. They gave more than parents who were far more financially able to give more. I had ISKCON individual leaders giving to support child protection. And God bless them in that sense. But it's that childlike innocence of those who want to engage in child protection. That's a problem because they can't. Even though they may want to, they can't. Let's stop putting this out there. I was listening to, someone sent me yesterday a video of two devotees, prominent child protection advocates in ISKCON, talking about child protection. And one devotee asked the other, so what do you think the solution is? And the answer was, there is no solution. It would require a miracle, was what the other devotee answered. I agree with that assessment. I take that back. That assessment is correct. I disagree with it. The devotee was absolutely correct. It would take a miracle to solve this problem. I disagree with that because the premise of the question is based on if you keep putting the problem at the feet of the GBC. Yes, absolutely correct. It would require a miracle. We've been at it for 30 years. So putting the problem at the feet of the GBC, that would require a miracle. But if you take the problem and you put it where it belongs, in the hands of the parents, you solve the problem. It's not rocket science, and you do not require a miracle if you put it in the hands of parents. That's the difference. When parents are involved in selecting, appointing the director of the Child Protection Committee, when parents are responsible for funding and giving the funds to the Child Protection Office to run, now you have a living tiger. That's the difference. But so long as we continue to put this at the feet of the GBC, who don't want it, can't deal with it, have no idea how to solve the problem over other issues in ISKCON, as long as we do that, you're going to need a miracle. When Prabhupada was on the planet, child protection was an issue. Because the same dynamics were at play when Prabhupada was here as well. The responsibility was not in the hands of the parents. That was a problem. And this is very, very important, Srila Prabhupada tried to put it in the hands of parents. That's what we don't talk about often enough. Prabhupada continually tried to put the issue of Gurukulas and the raising of children in the hands of parents. And parents kept putting it at the feet of the temple presidents and the temple presidents at the feet of the GBC. And therein lies the problem. So you want a miracle? Put the problem in the hands of the GBC. You want to get the job done? It's not rocket science. You don't need a miracle. You need parents who have courage. Hari Hari.